"Are you sure you want to go?" Ethan asked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. I stared at him, torn between my usual routine and the idea of a day at the beach. It was a simple invitation, but I felt a weight pressing down on me. My life had become a loop of mundane days with Lucas, filled with predictable meals and quiet evenings on the couch. The thought of breaking that pattern sent a thrill through me, but I hesitated. What if it's too hot? Or crowded? I replied, trying to find a reason to say no. Deep down, I knew I was stalling. Ethan chuckled, his laughter light and infectious. "Come on, Clara. It's the beach. Fresh air, waves, and sunshine. It'll be fun." I bit my lip, feeling the tug of nostalgia as I recalled sunny days spent at the shore when I was younger, days filled with laughter and freedom. Those memories felt like a distant dream now. "Okay," I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. A small smile crept onto my face as I imagined the salty breeze and the sound of crashing waves. Little did I know, this decision would change everything. Once we arrived, the vibrant atmosphere enveloped me. The sun sparkled on the water like 1,000 tiny jewels, and laughter echoed in the air. I inhaled deeply, letting the scent of salt and sunscreen wash over me. It felt like stepping into a different world, far away from my monotonous life. I could almost see my worries evaporate with each wave that rolled onto the shore. As we set up our spot, Ethan's playful energy was contagious. He splashed water at me, grinning widely. "You're supposed to enjoy yourself, Clara," he teased, his eyes gleaming. I couldn't help but laugh, feeling a lightness in my chest that I hadn't experienced in ages. But as the sun warmed my skin, I also felt a flutter in my stomach. Was it just the excitement of the day, or was it something more? I caught him looking at me, his gaze lingering a little too long. My heart raced. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. It was as if he saw right through me. "Are you having fun?" he asked, his voice low, pulling me from my thoughts. "Yeah, it's nice," I stammered, feeling heat rush to my cheeks. What was happening to me? I had spent years feeling invisible, and now here I was, feeling alive again. As the day wore on, we played in the surf and built sandcastles like children. I felt myself letting go, forgetting about Lucas and the life we had built together. Yet, with every laugh and playful touch, a nagging voice in my head whispered that this was wrong. I shouldn't be enjoying this. Flirting with Ethan felt like stepping onto a thin ice, ready to crack beneath me. "Clara," he said suddenly, his expression serious as he tucked a stray hair behind my ear. "You look beautiful today." The compliment sent shivers down my spine. My heart raced, and I struggled to catch my breath. I wanted to tell him how much I appreciated it, but I also felt a wave of guilt wash over me. "Thanks," I managed to reply, my voice shaky. I knew I shouldn't be feeling this way, yet the thrill of it was intoxicating. Just then, the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. It felt magical, and I caught Ethan looking at me again, his gaze intense. The spark of attraction ignited between us, a flame I desperately wanted to fan but knew I had to extinguish. "Do you think it's too late to build another sandcastle?" he asked, trying to lighten the mood. But I could see the tension in his eyes, the unspoken words hanging in the air between us. "Maybe we should just watch the sunset," I suggested, unsure of how to navigate this moment. There was a thrill in the air, a dance of possibilities. It felt good, too good, and it scared me. As darkness fell, I was left grappling with my feelings, a part of me yearning for more while another part screamed to stop. What was happening to me? I had a life, a marriage, yet here I was, caught in a moment that felt both exhilarating and dangerous. As I sat on the warm sand, the sound of the waves crashing against the shore, my mind began to drift back to my life with Lucas. I could picture us in our small living room, the dim light casting shadows on the walls. We would sit on the couch, side by side but worlds apart. The silence was often louder than any conversation we might have shared. I remembered the days when we would talk for hours, sharing dreams and plans. Now, it felt like we were just two people coexisting, going through the motions of a routine that had long lost its spark. How did we get here? I whispered to myself, the weight of the question settling heavily in my heart. I glanced at Ethan, who was focused on the horizon, his silhouette framed by the fading sunlight. There was a lightness to him, a freedom that I yearned for but felt so far away from. I thought about the moments that had led to this dullness in my marriage. The gradual decline of passion was like a slow leak, barely noticeable at first, but eventually leaving my heart feeling hollow. I had tried to ignore it, convincing myself that it was just a phase. But the truth was undeniable. The excitement I once felt had been replaced with predictability. I missed the thrill of spontaneity, the adventure of new experiences, and, most importantly, I missed feeling truly seen. "Clara, you okay?" Ethan's voice broke through my thoughts, pulling me back to the present. "Yeah, just thinking," I replied, forcing a smile. "About what?" His eyes were curious, and I could see the concern etched on his face. I hesitated, the words caught in my throat. Should I share the truth? My struggles with Lucas felt so heavy, and I didn't want to burden Ethan with my past. "Just life, I guess," I said finally, keeping it vague. I hoped he would accept it and let the topic drop. He nodded slowly, but I could tell he didn't buy it entirely. "Life can be complicated," he said softly, his gaze locking onto mine. "But you don't have to face it alone." His words struck a chord within me. I felt a warmth spread through my chest, a feeling I hadn't felt in so long. The innocent touches, the lingering gazes, blurred the lines between friendship and something deeper. Each time he brushed against my arm or looked into my eyes, the thrill of attraction heightened. It was intoxicating, like a heady elixir that I couldn't resist. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow over the beach, I could feel the tension building between us. "Clara, come here." Ethan called, his voice playful again as he motioned for me to join him at the water's edge. I walked hesitantly, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. As I reached him, he splashed water at me playfully, and I squealed in surprise. "Hey. No fair." I laughed, splashing back at him. It felt so good to laugh like this, to let go of the weight I carried. But as our playful banter continued, I could sense the thin line we were walking. Each innocent touch felt loaded with meaning, and I could feel my heart race with each accidental brush of our hands. "What are we doing?" I thought, panic creeping in. "Clara, can I ask you something?" Ethan's tone shifted, and I could sense the seriousness behind his words. "Sure," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Do you ever think about what could be?" His eyes searched mine, waiting for a response. I felt a rush of emotions. It was as if he had opened a door I wasn't ready to walk through. "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart pounding. "You know, between us. There's something here, right?" He stepped closer, his breath warm against my skin. I took a deep breath, my conscience battling with the thrill of his words. "Ethan, But before I could finish my thought, I saw a flicker of concern in his eyes, and I realized I was at a crossroads. I was drawn to him, but the thought of Lucas loomed large in my mind. I was still married, and I had to remind myself of that fact, no matter how much I wanted to embrace this new connection. I stammered, searching for the right words. "I don't want to hurt anyone." Ethan's expression softened, and he took a step back, giving me space. "I understand," he said quietly. "I just wanted you to know that you're not alone in this. You deserve to feel happy, Clara." As the sun finally set, I was left grappling with my emotions. The thrill of the day lingered in the air, but so did the weight of my choices. I felt alive for the first time in years, yet I was painfully aware of the price of that happiness. I had to confront my feelings for Ethan and the reality of my life with Lucas, and the thought terrified me. What was happening to me? I was caught in a whirlwind of excitement and guilt, and I didn't know how to escape. The moment our lips met, time seemed to stand still. It felt electric, a surge of emotions that rushed through me like a tidal wave. I had never expected this, but as Ethan's warmth enveloped me, it felt like everything I had been missing in my life. The kiss was soft at first, but as it deepened, I felt a whirlwind of feelings battling inside me: joy, excitement, but most of all, guilt. As I pulled away, reality crashed back in. "Oh no," I whispered, my heart racing. I looked into Ethan's eyes, and I saw the same mix of thrill and confusion reflected back at me. "What have we just done?" Ethan took a step back, his expression shifting from exhilaration to concern. "Clara, I didn't mean to." "No, it's not your fault," I interrupted, holding up my hands. "It's just, I'm married. This is wrong." My voice trembled as the weight of my actions sank in. The thrill that had filled the air moments before was now replaced by a heavy guilt that settled deep in my chest. "I know," Ethan said softly, his brow furrowed. "But I can't help how I feel. There's something special between us, and I thought you felt it too." "I do feel it," I admitted, my heart aching. "But that doesn't change the fact that I have Lucas. I can't just forget about him." My voice was shaky, and I could feel tears welling in my eyes. I turned away, unable to face the reality of my choices. "Clara," Ethan stepped closer, his tone gentle. "What we shared, it was real. You deserve to feel alive, to be happy. I just want you to know that." I shook my head, trying to clear the fog of emotions swirling inside me. "I do want that, Ethan. I really do. But I can't hurt Lucas. He's been a part of my life for so long. This is all so confusing." The awkwardness that followed was palpable. We stood there, the sound of the waves crashing around us, both unsure of what to say next. I could feel the tension between us, a mix of unspoken words and emotions that hung heavily in the air. "Maybe we should just forget this happened," I suggested, my voice barely above a whisper, my heart breaking at the thought. "Pretend it didn't, you know?" Ethan's face fell, and I could see the disappointment in his eyes. "That's not what I want, Clara. I don't want to pretend. But I understand if you feel that way." He took a step back, the space between us feeling like an insurmountable chasm. "I just need time," I said, my eyes downcast. "I can't think clearly right now." "Okay," he replied, his voice low. "Take all the time you need. I just want you to be happy, even if that means being with Lucas." The way he said Lucas's name cut through me. I felt a wave of regret wash over me, and I turned away to hide the tears that threatened to spill. I felt torn between two worlds, one that felt safe and familiar, and another that was filled with excitement and fear. That night, I tossed and turned, sleep eluding me as thoughts of Ethan and our kiss replayed over and over in my mind. I could still feel the heat of his lips on mine, the way my heart raced in those fleeting moments. But alongside that thrill came the gnawing guilt that would not let me rest. How could I have let this happen? What was I doing? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lucas's face, the man I had promised to love and cherish. And yet, there was Ethan, a bright spark in my otherwise dull existence, reminding me of everything I had lost. What do I want? I thought, frustration bubbling within me. What do I really want? As dawn broke, I finally sat up, the weight of my thoughts pressing down on me. I had to face the truth of what I had done, and the choice I now had to make. The thrill of the kiss with Ethan was intoxicating, but the reality of my life with Lucas was looming larger than ever. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, peering into the unknown, and I wasn't sure if I had the courage to leap. In that moment, I realized I couldn't keep living in this turmoil. I had to confront my feelings, both for Ethan and for Lucas. I needed clarity. The thought terrified me, but I knew I had to make a decision. This was my life, and I was the only one who could change it. The days that followed our kiss felt like I was walking on a tightrope, balancing between two worlds. I tried to maintain my routine with Lucas, but inside, I was a storm of emotions. Every time he smiled at me over breakfast or asked about my day, I felt a pang of guilt. It was as if I were wearing a mask, pretending everything was fine while chaos raged beneath. "Clara, you seem a bit distant lately," Lucas said one evening, his brow furrowing with concern. We were sitting on the couch, watching a show that I could barely focus on. "Is everything okay?" "Yeah, just tired," I replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. "Work has been busy." I could feel the heat rising in my cheeks. I hated lying to him, but the truth felt too heavy to share. As the days turned into weeks, my secret exchanges with Ethan became my only escape. We would text during the day, stealing moments of intimacy through our words. Each notification sent a thrill through me, a reminder of the spark he ignited within me. But with each message, my internal conflict grew deeper. One afternoon, as I sat in my car during lunch, I decided to text Ethan. "Can we talk? I need to understand what this all means." His reply was almost immediate. "Yes. Meet me at the coffee shop after work?" A flutter of excitement mixed with anxiety filled my chest. I spent the rest of the day counting down the hours until our meeting, my mind racing with questions. What would I say? What could he possibly say? When I arrived at the coffee shop, I spotted Ethan sitting at a corner table, his eyes lighting up as he saw me. He stood up, and for a moment, the world around us faded. But as I approached, the weight of what was about to happen pressed down on me. "Hey," I said, sliding into the seat across from him. We exchanged small talk, but the air was thick with unspoken words. Finally, I took a deep breath. "Ethan, we need to talk about us." My heart raced as I uttered the words. "Yeah, I've been thinking about it too," he said, his gaze serious. "I can't ignore what happened between us. What we have is different." "I know." I looked down at my hands, feeling the anxiety knot in my stomach. "But I'm married, Ethan. I can't just walk away from that." "I get it," he replied, leaning forward slightly. "But you deserve to be happy, Clara. You deserve to feel alive. I feel like we have something special, and I don't want to lose that." His words resonated with me, but they also terrified me. But what does it mean for Lucas? What if I hurt him? I can't bear the thought of causing him pain. Ethan sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I don't want to hurt anyone, but I also can't pretend that what we have isn't real. It's like we're caught in this moment together, and I don't want to lose it." I could feel the weight of his words, the truth of our attraction, but the guilt gnawed at me. What if I choose this path? What if I decide to explore this connection with you? Is it worth the pain it might cause? Ethan's expression softened. "I can't answer that for you. You have to decide what you truly want. But I can promise you this, I want to be there for you, no matter what you choose." Tears threatened to spill from my eyes as I absorbed his words. "I just wish things were simple," I whispered, feeling the depth of my struggle. "I wish I could have both, my safety with Lucas and the excitement with you." Ethan reached across the table, his hand brushing against mine, sending a jolt of electricity through me. "Life isn't always simple, Clara. Sometimes we have to make tough choices. Just promise me you'll think about it." "I will," I assured him, my voice shaky. But deep down, I knew the thrill of being with Ethan came at a significant cost. In that moment, I realized I had to confront my feelings and what I truly valued in my life. As we left the coffee shop, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. I was at a crossroads, standing between my past and an uncertain future. I had to decide what path to take, and it was a decision that could change everything. Sitting alone in my car, I felt like I was drowning in a sea of emotions. The weight of my choices pressed heavily on my chest. I glanced at my phone, the screen lighting up with messages from Ethan, but I couldn't bring myself to read them. My mind was a whirlwind of confusion and guilt. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I had come to a breaking point. The thrill of my secret relationship with Ethan was intoxicating, yet it was also tearing me apart. I thought about Lucas as my husband, the man who had always been my rock. I felt sick at the thought of hurting him. I had to face the reality of what I was doing, and it was time to confront my feelings. That evening, I walked into our living room where Lucas sat on the couch, engrossed in a show I had seen 100 times before. The familiar surroundings felt suffocating. I cleared my throat, my heart racing. "Lucas, can we talk?" He looked up, surprise crossing his face. "Sure, what's on your mind?" I hesitated. The words felt stuck in my throat. I had to find a way to express the distance that had grown between us. "I've been feeling different lately. I don't know how to explain it." Lucas frowned, concern in his eyes. "Different how?" "You can talk to me, Clara." It was then that I saw the hurt in his gaze. I took a deep breath. "I just feel like we've lost something. We used to be so close, and now, it feels like we're just going through the motions." His expression shifted to one of confusion. "I thought everything was fine." "I mean, we have our routines, but I thought that was normal." "Normal," I repeated, the word tasting bitter on my tongue. "But is it really? I want to feel alive again, Lucas. I want to feel like we're a team, like we are connected." He looked down, his shoulders slumping. "I didn't realize you felt this way. I thought we were happy." "I know," I said, my voice softening. "But I've changed. I've felt this spark with someone else, and it's made me question everything." "Someone else?" Lucas echoed, his voice sharp. "Who?" I closed my eyes, feeling tears prick at the corners. "It's Ethan. We've grown close, and it's confusing. I didn't plan for this to happen, but I can't deny what I feel." Lucas went silent, the air thick with tension. I could see the hurt in his eyes, and it shattered me. "I'm so sorry, Lucas. I never wanted to hurt you. I need to figure out what I want." He looked away, and I could tell he was trying to process my words. "So, you're saying there's something between you and him?" "Yes," I admitted, my voice trembling. "But I don't want to lose you either. It's tearing me apart." Lucas stood up, running a hand through his hair. "I can't believe this. I thought we were happy. Did I miss something? Was I not enough for you?" The pain in his voice cut deep. "You are enough, Lucas. You've always been enough. I just feel lost, and I need to explore this part of myself. But it doesn't mean I don't care about you." He shook his head, tears glistening in his eyes. "I don't know how to deal with this, Clara. You're my wife. What do you want me to say?" "I don't know," I replied, my heart breaking. "I want to be honest with you, but I'm so scared. I didn't mean for things to get complicated." "Complicated doesn't even begin to cover it," he said, his voice strained. "What if you choose him? What does that mean for us?" I took a step closer, desperate to reach him. "It means I have to figure out what I truly want. I need to understand myself before I can make any decisions." Lucas turned away, the hurt evident in his posture. "I can't just stand by and watch you choose someone else, Clara. It's too painful." "I know," I whispered, feeling the tears fall. "But I need time to think. I need to discover what truly makes me happy." As I walked away, I felt a mix of liberation and heartache. I had opened the door to a painful truth, but I also knew that I needed to confront my desires. The journey ahead would not be easy, but it was necessary for my own self-discovery. I had to decide what I valued most, my safety with Lucas or the thrill of the unknown with Ethan. And that decision would change everything. The days that followed my confrontation with Lucas were a blur of mixed emotions. I felt a strange sense of liberation, but it was also heavy with heartache. I had opened up a part of myself that I had hidden for so long, yet the cost of that honesty felt overwhelming. I spent hours staring out of the window, lost in thoughts about what my life would look like now. One afternoon, I found myself at the beach again, a place that had once been filled with joy and laughter. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore was both soothing and haunting. I closed my eyes, letting the salty breeze wash over me. Memories of Ethan flooded my mind, the way he smiled, the way he made me feel alive. But alongside those memories came the image of Lucas, looking at me with hurt in his eyes. "Clara," I whispered to myself, "what have you done?" I sat on the sand, feeling the grains slip through my fingers like time itself. I knew I had to reflect on what I had learned from this experience. I had been honest with Lucas, and while it hurt him, it was a step toward understanding myself better. I thought about the lessons I had learned from my time with Ethan. Just then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I hesitated before pulling it out. It was a message from Ethan. "Hey, thinking about you. Hope you're okay." I felt a flutter in my stomach, but also a wave of guilt. I didn't want to hurt Lucas further, yet a part of me longed to respond. I took a deep breath and typed back, "I'm okay. Just trying to figure things out." I waited for a moment, and then my phone buzzed again. "I miss you. Let's talk." As much as I craved that connection with Ethan, I knew I had to be careful. "I need some time," I replied. "Can we talk later?" I put my phone away and looked out at the ocean. The waves continued their dance, relentless and free. It struck me then that I needed to find my own rhythm. I remembered the excitement I felt with Ethan, but I also realized that I had to confront the reality of my life with Lucas. Days turned into weeks, and I found myself at a crossroads. I had moments of clarity, where I understood that true fulfillment starts from within. I began to focus on what I wanted, not just in my relationships, but in life itself. One evening, I sat down with a journal I had kept. I wrote about my feelings, my fears, and my hopes. "I want to feel alive," I penned. "I want to be true to myself." I reflected on my marriage with Lucas, the love we had shared, but also the distance that had grown between us. I realized that it was not just about Ethan, it was about me finding my own voice. "I need to be honest with myself," I wrote. "I can't keep living in a way that doesn't feel right." As I wrote, I thought about reaching out to Lucas again. I wanted to reconnect, to see if we could find a way back to each other. But I also knew it wouldn't be easy. I had to be prepared for whatever response he might have. One morning, I gathered my courage and texted Lucas. "Can we talk? I want to try to understand what we can do moving forward." His reply came quickly. "Of course. I'd like that." My heart raced as I prepared for our conversation. I felt a mix of hope and fear. What if he was angry? What if he wanted to move on? I had to be ready for any outcome. When we met, I could see the tension in Lucas's shoulders, but there was also a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Clara, I've been thinking a lot," he said, his voice steady. "I want us to be honest with each other." I nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I want to understand what we both want." His gaze softened, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of connection. "I still care about you, Clara. I want to find a way to make this work. But we need to be open about how we feel." In that moment, I realized that rebuilding wouldn't be easy, but it was necessary. I was on a journey not just to find love again, but to find myself. I vowed to pursue a life that aligned with who I truly was, free from guilt and regret. As we talked, I felt a sense of hope for the future. Whatever path I chose, I would ensure it was filled with honesty and authenticity. I was ready to navigate the complexities of love and self-discovery, one step at a time. Share this story if you believe that love can conquer even the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about a time when an unexpected conversation changed your life, and subscribe for more captivating stories like this one.